Hey everybody, welcome to the Boulevard Kino Twitch channel. My name is Matt.
My name is Christy.
We're going to be playing on two of our Sith characters. Dredd is a Sith Juggernaut.
Banshila is a Sith Sorcerer.
We're going to be running around some daily heroics and Star of the Puppet on this planet here, planet Ossus, while we have a conversation about the episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi that is just screened, the sixth and final episode. Now, we're still recovering from that episode, so bear with us as we sort of jump around and try and recapture some of the detail and emotion associated with that episode. And we're going to be trying to do these heroics in the background while we have a conversation. Might be a little tricky, this is not one of the planets we do quite as often as some of the ones we do when we're running our Twitch streams. So we might hear a couple of pauses while we stop and think. We'll see how we go. So we've arrived here, we've got to run around quite a few different destinations, and this one's a little busy. This plan will probably take us about a whole hour, the amount of time that we usually stream and discuss Obi-Wan Kenobi episodes for, so that should work out pretty good. If you join us in chat, feel free to put any comments or thoughts in the chat. We'll keep you quiet on that and responding as we go along. So on the whole, I think it's fair to say that this episode gave us a lot of what we were kind of expecting, a lot of what was necessary to wrap up the story, and a couple of the bonus icing on the top that we really hope we would see of Obi-Wan Kenobi's story. Try and remember how to play this particular planet when we run it frequently. We do quite
We tend to do it Republic side more than Imp side. I think. That's why it's throwing me off a little.
It's been a little month since we've done this particular place. I'm feeling a little bit rusty, to be honest. But anyway, Obi-Wan Kenobi, we enjoyed that. I think it would be fair to say that pulled at the strings and worked a lot of nostalgia. Pretty straightforward beginning, I guess. We had the damaged ship that all the Path refugees were on, unable to escape. Obi-Wan Kenobi takes the smaller ship to draw Darth Vader away, and Darth Vader does take the bait. In typical Star Wars fashion, fortunately there is a planet not too far away, even though hyperdrive is down. There's a reasonable proximity too.
Yeah, I really like the design of that planet. I didn't catch the name of it. Just a lot to absorb. If the name was said out loud, it's slipped my mind. But it was a really cool locale. Just the perfect, sort of an isolated duel where they were not going to be interrupted or
I think they
influenced or sort of witnessed.
Wasn't too much of a callback to other arenas that they've battled within. Different enough. Necessary landscape and environment to feed into the slight variations in the fighting techniques that they employed. Rocks to throw around, tight corridors, made it a little bit interesting.
Yeah, sort of even terrain. Well, as in neither of them would be familiar with the terrain, so there wasn't like one had the upper hand or they were sort of both just there, just to duel.
Yeah. So we've watched it once. We will watch it again after this. Just probably cement all the details and the order of the timelines. But a little bit of pieces just jump out to me. I've always loved the Land of Shadows So of course the
Yes.
Darth Vader using that as his personal shuttle and just sort of seeing it on the barren landscape.
Yeah.
When he came down to the planet to face Kenobi. I can't remember exactly at what point it cropped up, but it was sort of in parallel that we were seeing Reva had survived and recovered adequately enough to make her way to Tatooine.
Yeah. Yeah, she's still got her Inquisitor gear on, but she's kind of had to bandage her abdomen up, and wearing a sort of a big cloak to hide in it. Look, she looks a little disheveled. You know, she's not in her sort of confident self. She doesn't really have the position, and it almost feels like she herself is having to hide a little bit because she knows the Inquisitors want her dead, or at least
Yeah,
may
she's in a
assume
pretty
she's
tricky
dead, so she's
position,
kind of hiding herself as well.
Yeah. So those are two of the elements of the setup, and the other main element of the setup was Owen gets informed from another local villager that Reva is on a planet, and so he and Beru start making plans to protect Luke for her imminent arrival. I think those are the three key setups for the three key story arcs.
Yeah, I particularly really enjoyed seeing both the homestead and Beru more prominently. We didn't see her much, if at all, in the first episode, where we saw a lot of Owen.
We saw a lot of returning characters. I much appreciated that. This is quite a busy fight for those that are paying attention to the screen. So I'm just going to focus a tiny bit on these relentless incoming enemies.
Because it's always fun seeing more of Tatooine, though. Like it feels familiar, but then new at the same time, because we're seeing really scenes and some people that we haven't seen before.
Details in the homestead.
Yeah.
We saw connections between the entrance and the main open courtyard area. We saw a bit more of the garage. Later on, we see a sort of bridge into the garage. Where Reva faces, where Owen faces Reva, quite cool. Interesting that they had additional weapons hidden away in preparation. And a little bit more character development for Beru. She's clearly not just a stay-at-home cook. She's sort of depicted in New Hope. She's clearly very much an active participant in survival in their lifestyle. And they're both fully engaged in protecting Luke in quite a powerful way.
Yeah.
So yeah, three main story arcs being set up there, I think. We saw Haja still amongst the other refugees on the planet, and Obi-Wan leaves Leia on the ship and basically entrusts others to deliver her back to Alderaan, which was interesting, and Leia was obviously troubled by that, so that was kind of significant sort of portrayal of her bond with him.
Here we go.
What's that?
Oh man. I've hit my conquest commendations maximum. I didn't spend them.
Me too. That's okay.
Oh well.
We'll worry about that later.
Yep. Okay,
so we got into the Vader Obi-Wan fight actually fairly promptly on the whole.
Yeah, they didn't sort of mess around too long or sort of drag it out. But that fight, that was
in parallel with Reva fighting Owen and Beru and chasing down Luke.
Yeah.
They were switching between them to really build the tension. And yeah, I think that was really actually really quite early on. I wasn't quite sure how long they're going to play that out. But yeah, I enjoyed the Vader Obi-Wan
Hang
fight.
on, just scanning.
For reasons. Yep.
Okay. But it was really satisfying to see the two of them rematched when Obi-Wan is, and Vader says that you're like back to full strength and stuff.
Yeah, specifically drawing attention to the fact that he is in fact almost stronger than we've really sort of certainly seen him in live action.
Yeah.
And again, I've really enjoyed the way that fights between Force users hasn't just solely relied on lightsabers alone, that they've brought other Force powers into play in it. It's actually quite reminiscent of this game we're playing right now, in fact. Different classes rely on different techniques. The Jedi rely on telekinetic powers a lot to throw things around. Sith rely on a lot more lightning, and that's all in addition to those range lightsaber combat. It was good to see that mix come into play in live action. I thought I enjoyed it when they did it with the Reva fight last week. But again, it makes a lot more sense to not just solely rely on lightsabers if you've got other skills and techniques at your disposal.
So I was just double checking over here. Okay, we're fine. Let's do canyons.
Don't hit the burning. Oh, so I'm getting.
No, it's the other one.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. We need to go to catacombs first. I keep
Catacombs.
forgetting there's an order here. Catacombs. I'll just quick travel there first.
And so I was really wondering how they were going to play the Obi-Wan Vader fight in a way that was consistent with what comes later. Didn't quite expect it to go all the way to the point that it did, to be honest. I was pleasantly surprised when they played all the way to exposing Anakin through the helmet.
Yeah. How do you get down from here? Where are the steps?
But yeah, it started to make sense. Started to make a lot more sense to me how it's going to play when Kenobi got a few good hits and was damaging the Vader's control box for his respirator. I actually found it quite nostalgic, not quite the right word. It was quite powerful that they were using sort of Vader's breathing sound effects from Return of the Jedi to indicate that he was suffering from a degree of incapacitation.
Yeah.
And showing how much he relied on his armor and how vulnerable he was when it started to become damaged.
Yeah.
And of course the closing scenes of Return of the Jedi are really powerful. Vader's ultimate redemption in those scenes. And sort of looking back to that just with those sound effects really hit me personally.
Yeah.
So you got a kick out of seeing stones being thrown around, I got the impression.
Yes, well, as a big SWTOR fan, obviously anybody who's familiar with one of the sort of core abilities of the Jedi Consular, which is, as we like to say, throwing rocks, which was very much, it's basically the Jedi version of Force Lightning in this game.
Yeah, well, Vader did a few SWTOR moves himself actually. He started with a bit of a vengeful slam.
Yeah.
Cracked the ground open. But yeah, some good throwing around of rocks and ultimately throwing enough rocks to bury Kenobi.
Yeah, that was brutal.
So Obi-Wan was relying heavily on the Force to basically support the rocks so he wasn't completely crushed.
Which we have sort of seen in the micro series when there is sort of a cave-in on Ilum Luminara and Barriss used the Force to kind of hold up the rocks, the roof, as it were, of the cave to protect themselves. So that's what that made me think. But yeah, it was sort of, I guess, like symbolic. The Vader was, burying Obi-Wan, burying that part of him. But obviously, Obi-Wan's too powerful to let that just be the end.
Yeah, but Vader presumed he's trapped. I wasn't 100% sure if he was intentionally dead or leaving him to die, leaving him to suffer in the same way that he believed he was going to suffer. I think probably the latter. But Obi-Wan gets out fairly promptly and intercepts Vader before he gets back to his shuttle. So we get a second phase of the face-off. And that's where Obi-Wan really starts to get the upper hand. With this great big rocks. See him make lightsaber contact a few times, first across Vader's back, wasn't it? As well as his chest box.
Yeah,
and then the face reveal.
I had wondered whether they were going to give us a moment like that, like with Ahsoka and Vader, where his helmet is damaged so that she can actually see his eye. And that was always a really powerful moment, and I was like, well...
It would be a shame to not...
Yeah.
This is a story that kind of... where it would really carry a lot of weight.
Yes. Sorry, I'm just looking for the data pads. I can't remember which spots they are. Here?
Yep, this one.
And sort of basically having Anakin's voice coming out of the Vader helmet was just...
I know, that's what I was about to say. Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
The sort of jumping, sort of garbled backwards and forwards for a bit before it kind of settled a little bit more on Anakin's voice.
No, I thought that was great, because it was clearly Hayden Christensen's voice. But they let the story just play quite slowly and intentionally during that phase. It was
this episode, I was like, oh man, it's only 50 minutes, how are they going to fit it all in? But it didn't feel rushed.
No,
I have
it wasn't
to
rushed
say,
because they took their time where it was necessary to really let the emotions sink in. When Vader's face and Anakin's face was exposed, I really felt like that was given enough time to really build up to a powerful emotional moment.
but I like that it felt like it fit with where we see the two of them meeting again later. I feel like they did a really good job of making sure that it felt respectful to the events of A New Hope.
Yeah.
That it didn't sort of felt jarring because we've changed or added to the continuity.
I'm happy with it on the whole. In fact, there were a few instances where it actually reinforced it and made things make a bit more sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I am sure that Obi-Wan's words to Leia are supposed to, in some way, sort of give a possible explanation to why she has some sort of memory of her mother, whereas Luke does not.
Yeah.
I thought that was really lovely. Of course, Obi-Wan is talking about both Anakin and Padme as if in the past tense, like they've died. Because I guess at this point he is...
Oh, speaking of that, that was the bit that really struck me. When Anakin actually said, when Vader actually said, you didn't kill Anakin, I did. That really harks back to the whole Vader killed him from a certain point of view line.
Yes. Yeah.
That
it's not just Obi-Wan's point of view, it is actually...
Yeah, all along Obi-Wan's been thinking Anakin was dead, and now Vader has told him that in effect he did kill Anakin. those words coming from Anakin
Yeah.
means that it's, you know, a certain point of view. The point of view that that is true from is straight up Anakin / Vader's point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really doubles down on that line.
And yeah, obviously jumping around, but I do have to love the fact that they put in a hello there.
Yeah. Well, I'm going
complete with a smile as well.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah. His
like...
delivery was spot on. But that kind of plays into, you know, when we get to the whole end of the conversation, there's a whole lot of good scenes, sensitising on the cakes in order to give us everything we needed to feel comfortable with the story. All wrapped up all the loose ends, but also delivered on expectations. So yeah, we expected and hoped to see. Well, I did more of Brew as well as Owen. Expected and hoped to see a return to Old Line with both Bale and Rhea. And just jump in and say we hoped to see Qui-Gon, at least hear him. Liam Neeson's voice.
Yes. I was so happy with that final scene. It really got me emotionally. I was like, I'm 90% sure they'll give us Qui-Gon's voice. I was personally hoping to see Qui-Gon, because he's the one that discovered it. That it makes sense that he would come back in some form, and it's not like they can't do that.
Just thinking of, things we expected, or didn't necessarily expect. Heard rumours of, but wasn't sure if it was going to be Bad Batch or this live action series. Was Ian McDiarmid contributing more than just his voice as well?
Yeah, it was fun because he felt like another link to episode 3. He felt a little bit more like his episode 3. It felt like a really good middle ground between episode 3, Palpatine, and Return of the Jedi. Obviously we do see him now in the sort of modern renditions of Empire Strikes Back, but they feel like Return of the Jedi, because they're sort of done in the modern era. So I really enjoyed that. And another fun moment for Ian McDiarmid getting to come back and do that role. And we do get the I'm pretty sure the Imperial March plays fully proper in that scene, just as the end is sort of closing, and we see Vader kind of like, yes, I serve you, Palpatine, not Kenobi means nothing to me, and it's the full like he's sort of he's
master.
He's faced
master all along.
But he's faced his past and kind of not exactly defeated it, but it's kind of he's come away resolved, that this is who he is. This is where his alliance is.
Yeah, he didn't beat Obi-Wan by any stretch, but facing him and having like conversations with him, it does, from his point of view, tie up some of those things. Interesting, we had spare Vader helmets on hand to replace the damaged ones straight away.
Yeah.
And that does speak to the fact that we see subtle differences in armor and helmets along the way.
Yeah. He's got a few. Make some upgrades, maybe make this one a little sturdier, and But yeah, I thought that was really cool. I'm like, okay, who's going to be the first company to get out merchandise with that version of the helmet with the face?
Yeah, that would be crazy, the damaged helmet with the face.
Costumers will be like, okay, I got to take a Dremel to my Vader helmet.
Yeah. It was really well done. I really liked it.
Yeah.
You could tell it was Hayden underneath you here in his voice.
But the proportions looked right. Like you could see like where the sort of breather fit in his mouth.
Yeah.
It must have been
when we see damaged helmets and the eye lines don't line up with lenses, for instance.
Yeah. Like the little inner breathers fit sort of in Sebastian Shaw's sort of facial structure, like when we see that in Return of the Jedi. So I think it was really important to follow that. So I think we're done here.
I'll take your word for it. You're better remembering the sequence than I am on this one.
Then we go to Canyons,
Okay.
which is just across from here.
Alright, so we're jumping around a few details, but of course...
it's just the stuff that really jumps out, as I say.
The timelines of the plot, so everyone beats Vader and escapes.
I do like that we had powerful moments of both of them. One was using rocks to kind of try and crush Obi-Wan, and then Obi-Wan basically kind of does the same thing. He uses rocks to basically try and crush Vader, just not in the ground. I thought that was really interesting, saying that how sort of balanced and not perfectly matched, but close. Because Obi-Wan obviously, you know, it takes him a bit of effort to overcome what Vader did.
So I might pick it up here.
Yeah, sorry, there's one up the top as well.
Yeah, so in parallel with the Vader Kenobi face-off, Reva has caught up to just running away into the desert, basically. And she catches him. We're not sure how that's going to play out.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by Reva's character. I really want to know if they're going to... Oh, it's all the way back in the river. I missed one.
So we've got a clue. We've got a strong hint as to how that was going to play out. I guess I should say, because she started seeing herself in Luke.
Yeah.
And they play that literally for our benefit. Anyway, for some scanning, really.
No, there was a cave by the river we didn't go in.
So Obi-Wan gets back to his transport, and I think he senses that Luke's in danger.
Yeah.
Fortunately, even though it's not a big enough vehicle for others to escape with him on, but he does use the hyperdrive to get promptly to Tatooine. Side note, Leia intentionally left Lola with him so that he would have to return.
There was a cute scene where she was basically saying that Lola was a good distraction to help cheer people up and take their mind off the situation. So you can see in her sort of optimism, she's left it with Obi-Wan. And knowing that Obi-Wan knows how much she cares about Lola, that he's going to have to go return it to her.
Yeah. So everyone gets to Tatooine, where Owen and Beru are looking for Luke. They don't even know which sort of direction to head. And Rita turns up carrying Luke just about the time that Kenobi arrives.
Yeah, that gave me, like, obviously we know Luke's not going to be dead, but it felt symbolic, like Anakin returning with Shmi. There was something about that, and perhaps it's played for that effect because Owen has seen that happen. He was there when Anakin brought Shmi back. Perhaps that would have been playing in his mind, that felt familiar. You know, knowing that the person being carried back was not able to be saved.
Yeah.
But I like how it's made Owen and Beru a little softer. You know, they're sort of a bit harsh and gruff
they're certainly not begrudging, which A New Hope almost conveyed them as Owen is a bit begrudging of Luke's presence. But that's far from the case. I like that. We saw the rest of Reva's story pan out by way of dialogue with Obi-Wan.
Oh, but I'd love to know, like, I think it was interesting because it basically was obviously in stark contrast. She's sort of realizing of how close to Anakin she became, but she steps back. She doesn't fully succumb to the dark side. She's able to step back and stop herself before she fully sort of becomes the mass murderer killing children that Anakin did. And I'd love to know if they have any further plans for that character.
Well, it's got an expanded media,
Yeah.
even if it's not live action. It's going to be this Fox People's stories, I would think. Good, I'm getting lots of gear and progress in the later seasons here.
Yep. So just coming outside to see the map a little bit better.
Because she's a very powerful Force user, and she is now in the wild, so to speak, not affiliated with anyone per se.
We shall go to forest.
I almost thought they could have sent her off to help in the path.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe that is
too soon. Yeah.
Or maybe she needs to kind of hide out, atone, before she can kind of step in and replace Tala.
Yeah. So if the Inquisitors are still around, then obviously the path, the refugees need to continue their work. Or those that are assisting refugees specifically. And then we break into all the other little scenes that really just tie up all the loose ends. We see very cool scene where I really enjoyed the bit where where Owen invites
everyone to meet
everyone to come and meet Luke. That was really a big deal. We know that Luke ends up with the toy T-16 Skyhopper one way or another.
Yeah.
Seeing that play out the way it did, I enjoyed it. I'll try. Is that the wrong guy?
Try that one. I'm just still so happy with the fact, like, for me, it wrapped up all the little bits and pieces that I wanted to see. All the little things that I hoped we would see. I'd hoped we'd get an epic Vader Obi-Wan fight where Obi-Wan wasn't sort of hampered in any way.
Yeah.
He was back up to full power. We got the sort of the emotional connection that was obviously there for the original Mustafar fight. We got a little bit of that.
Yeah, the flashbacks from the previous week were satisfying enough.
We got some little touches of Obi-Wan with both Luke and Leia. Because Obi-Wan has been such a major character, but when you think about it, he's not actually seen in the original trilogy much at all. You know, in A New Hope, yes, but for a lot of, you know, the stuff on the Death Star, he's running around by himself. He's not actually with the main group.
So the story did feel very circumscribed. It felt very wrapped up.
Yeah.
Which was what we were expecting from what they're calling a limited series, but everyone is talking about the possibility of more.
Yeah, if it does well, I would love to see more. It left it open enough that you could see, okay, he could do something else, maybe not with Luke and Leia, because that feels neatly wrapped up. But
no, that's not necessary. But
yeah.
And it would also interrupt everything that's been set up nicely and cleanly. The other thing, the way
they'll be too old. They would remember too much if we.
Yeah, but also every time they set Leia up to ask Obi-Wan, "Will I see you again?" or stuff like that, it's a bit of that's definitely an emotional thing because they know exactly. They know the audience knows how that's going to play out.
Yeah.
She does see her, but only from a distance, as he sacrifices himself to save both Luke and Leia, knowing that they are together. And
I feel like so much of things that connect to A New Hope make it so much more of an emotional film. And to be true, the more you add to any story, the more sort of fleshed out characters are, the more emotional these things will feel. But like with Rogue One and now this, you know, the connections, you know, we fully see Alderaan a little more clearly here, and the family and the world that she knew on this planet, and her connection with Obi-Wan and Owen and Beru. It's just like, oh, that film is going to feel very different the next time we sit down to watch it.
Yeah.
I still need one more droid.
I need a couple. Little other bits that I did enjoy. The fact that Bria said that the holster looked good on her was quite cool, because clearly Bale understands and appreciates her, and you know, her strength and where she'll end up being as a leader. But seeing that even though Bria's got a different approach to it, or she understands her and understood that was important as well.
Yeah.
Understood.
And I like that it's a little bit symbolic of where she becomes as a rebel leader. She's got this memento of somebody that was, you know, fighting against the Empire.
Dedicated their life to it.
Yeah, I think that that's neat, because obviously that, not that she needed that for it to become an important part of her sort of quest later on. But I like that that was a little nod.
We're getting a high success rate with those guys.
Yeah, I feel like definitely getting that. Do you need more?
I think I need one more.
Okay, well, we've got to head this way to do the others anyway.
You're not failing as often as I feel like I used to.
No, I only got about 1 or 2 fails.
Did I speak too soon? Yeah. Might just be luck of the draw tonight. Of course, there was the chuckle when Leia said that the holster was empty.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not going to give you a blaster, you're only 10 years old.
Yeah. But at the same time, you know, she'd probably be quite completely, you know, good with a blaster where she is later on. It was good to see Obi-Wan more sure of himself, and we even see him in robes at the end, very akin to his Episode 3 robes. It was almost like he was sort of finally settled with sort of reclaiming that part of himself.
Looking like a Jedi again.
Yeah, yeah.
Avoiding acting and looking and
yeah.
like a Jedi.
His whole demeanor was kind of shrouded and hidden and sad and depressed, and it felt like he was sort of walking tall and... Oh, there's a box over here. Yeah, with the confidence that we see him in the prequels.
I think, I'm just jumping around a little bit in terms of thoughts, I think the fact that he specifically said to Owen that, and it made sense at the time, because he said that all Luke needs as a protector is Beru and Owen, because everyone saw their strength and their dedication and had confidence in them. But I think that also, just thinking a little bit more laterally, does free him up for other adventures.
So he doesn't feel like he needs to hover so much.
Yeah, because and the reason I bring that up now is because I was just thinking it would have been kind of fun to see him somehow returning to the home, the abode that he had in the new home.
Yeah, I thought that would be like the one last thing, but then he might have another.
On the other hand,
another quest or two, before he gets a house to just kind of relax in. I did like it felt like quite a genuine laugh when Leia said something about sleeping, now that he's sort of finished his quest. It felt like a genuine laugh.
Well, this is just talking about Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan across the board. There was plenty of instances where he was really delivering in terms of committing to the character as an actor.
I felt
glad that he'd come back to it.
There were moments you really when he's talking to Anakin in the Vader helmet, and it really felt like he was going back to the pain that he had to sort of summon up and embody during the fight on Mustafar, and bringing that back. You could see it in his eyes. It would have been an intense scene to film for that, you know, and the same thing is sort of coming back and doing that like nearly 20 years later, if that would have been filmed in like 2003-ish.
Glad that Ewan and Hayden seem to have enjoy working together.
Yeah.
Of course, they can easily do that for the sake of marketing and promotion, but I believe it. They worked. They had, a very
Yeah. They would have had to have done so much training for that fight.
the episode 3 fight.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Oh,
coming
well,
back
for
to
that
this
for
fight.
that episode 3 fight, yes, and then this new one. Originally they were kind of being a bit coy about whether Vader would be in this one or anything like that, and then after a while it's like, oh yeah, we're bringing Hayden back and blah blah blah, and then it's like, nope, they really brought him back in just about every capacity. Obi-Wan's got more on-screen time, but this was a huge component of the Vader storyline. Which, to be honest, I was never really sure that they would add so much, because, the main 9 films are called the Skywalker Saga, and generally the standalone films, the sort of additional ones, are sort of focused on stories that, they connect, but they're not about the main players. And this one felt, you could say that Obi-Wan is, is sort of on the fringe, connected to the Skywalker Saga, but this one made him feel like a very significant component, obviously because of his connection with Anakin / Vader, but the amount of Anakin story we got in this one was really, really cool.
Yeah, well, bouncing back between the flashbacks and the real-time interactions and emotions and behaviour, it taught a lot about Anakin. So the Qui-Gon moment at the end, was it good enough for you?
Oh, it was brilliant. I loved that it wasn't solemn. It was almost cheeky. But it really fit with the fact that you could see that Obi-Wan is different now. He's able to resolve some things, to let some hurt go. Like Anakin / Vader said, you didn't sort of kill me. It was Vader that killed Anakin, and just sort of being able to let part of that, his feelings of failure, that he was the one that basically created Anakin through some fault of his own. You could see how much he's been able to let go because of that moment, and I liked that they kind of called that out, because now that he's finally got that sort of burden, he's more fully in tune with the Force and ready to learn to sort of commune with Force ghosts and Qui-Gon and all that. I really enjoyed seeing that. It was just weirdly emotional seeing Qui-Gon back. It wasn't like sad, like the character died and it was tragic for Obi-Wan, but for me as an audience member, it just felt really, it was like seeing a close friend, again, that you haven't seen, and you were kind of hoping you'd see it, but at the same time it was a surprise.
Well, it has many levels in terms of its impact, and some of it is related to the story, but I also find some of it is related to the real world. When someone returns to a character like that, sure they do it because they get paid a bit of money, but I don't know, to me it kind of gives some degree of indication that they respect the character. And that always I find that thing.
Sorry, this thing's making me stressed. Oh crud, I went down. I got trapped in a fire thing. That's why I was saying stressed. I don't know why it just didn't occur to me to use my heroic moment. There's got to be friggin' med packs around. Do you have a companion?
Yeah, he's around somewhere.
Oh, I feel dumb. Oh yeah, he's behind you. Oh, thank you.
There's a lot going on, I couldn't keep track of him.
No, I should have used my heroic moment. Oh, no.
Probably shouldn't have peeked at it, though, like crowd screaming a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Liam Neeson back as Qui-Gon Jinn, and I guess it would have been almost, as things ticked on, I was wondering where they're going to slot it in. It would have been surprising if they hadn't, given that he would be showing up in the Towers of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon and Tales of the Jedi, it just makes 100% sense that they would have got him to spend an hour on set to record that quick little piece.
Yeah. It was so satisfying though. After all of the other little bits and pieces that felt all very wrapped up, that felt really good.
Yeah, well, there's lots of different ways they could have done it, but the way they did do it worked.
Okay, we're on to Jedi Temple ruins now.
Okay. Whoa,
oh, sorry. What? Did you cancel?
Yeah.
I forgot. We need to go back to... What are we in? Forest?
Yeah.
There's two... Actually, we can do it outside, I think, here. Two binocular things to do.
Sure.
I'm distracted by Obi-Wan thinks.
yeah, like let's get right at the start.
Oh, the droids are back. Yeah.
Really, they respawning, we're in a phase, so
Yeah. Oh, sometimes they come back if you defeat them. I'm just still on such a high from that, honestly. I had such high hopes for Obi-Wan. See, Boba Fett was just a fun ride for me. I didn't have too many expectations about what they might do or where they'll go with that. That was just such a ride. This one, I knew it was going to be emotional, but it was emotional in all sorts of good ways and sad ways and nostalgic ways.
Super emotional because of the relationship between Obi-Wan. But you throw Qui-Gon into the mix as well and expand on the fact that Leia actually knew Obi-Wan to the extent that she did.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back to Forest to do the last one. Just around the corner, it's faster to quick travel. Yeah, and I've always loved the character of Obi-Wan. So I just, you know, when a character is so near and dear to your heart, you really hope that you will, you know, like the series. I know everyone has their favourite Star Wars characters, Star Wars stories. Obi-Wan for me has always been really important.
Well, you've read a lot of the old books, haven't you?
Yeah, during that prequel era, I was definitely a fan of the Jedi Apprentice series. I know they're probably, you know, they're not sort of considered canon. I know I'm getting stuck on rocks here. And some people consider them to, you know, because they would for
they're not considered
young
canon,
adults.
But there's so many adventures that Obi-Wan and Anakin can have that they can just put them all together.
But the series of Jude Watson books about Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, because I was just trying to sort of absorb all of the Star Wars content I could get at the time, you know, I was reading the mainstay novels like the Thrawn trilogy and stuff like that. Okay, now we can go over to the temple. And then reading those books, they really fleshed out the character of Obi-Wan, you know, beyond what we saw in the movies, and it just kind of really sunk, specifically the dynamic between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and the characters. And a lot of just sort of what the Jedi did in the prequel era, you know, the quest that they would go on, how they kept the peace and what their sort of routine was in a way that we not quite got in the prequels.
Yeah, it's not touched on in the movies, no.
You know, we see a little bit at the start where Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are like going to a trade dispute, blah, blah, blah. You know, and then, woof, they're off on the galactic adventure. So we didn't quite get here they are training at the temple and stuff like that, and we got that.
Filling in those gaps,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know if logistics had been able to sort of work in terms of the ages of the people involved, I could have sat and watched a whole long-winded Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan series. I know they're probably both a bit too old to do that, but this felt like a great continuation of their story.
Yeah. I guess that's the only downside is that if we do see more Obi-Wan adventures, it won't be with Haven and it won't be with Luke or Leia probably, but Queen Voss is out there somewhere.
Huh?
Queen Voss is out there somewhere.
Yes.
And he can continue to commune with Qui-Gon to varying degrees based on Liam Neeson's availability and enthusiasm for the project. I might go read the recent book Brotherhood, but I think that's going to be quite a hard read, quite an emotional read.
Yeah.
That's a real reason to develop it. So yeah, it's
No,
only 6 weeks.
You gotta keep digging.
Yeah.
If two of us do it, it breaks.
Nice, bro. Yeah, there it is.
I don't know why two people digging makes it break, but it does.
So we've got a little bit of a lag until we get Andor now.
Yeah, it was like just getting used to the sort of weekly. I know we're never gonna have new Star Wars episodes
Full-time Star
every
Wars.
week.
Well,
yeah,
also going back to older material.
Yeah.
I think we are gonna fill the gaps.
Definitely
with older
keen
material
to,
now, I think there's-
yeah, fill the time in by. I mean, we're gonna rewatch Obi-Wan. That's a given.
Yeah, well, I really want to.
But I mean, to be honest, it's actually been a while since we've gone back and watched the first season of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
There's gonna be yeah, and we'll definitely have to watch Rogue One before Andor. I'm probably keen to go and watch the Rebels episodes that connect with Vader as well. I think those will be essential viewing.
Should be the fourth one. Fourth Jedi text. And yeah, just another detail that just struck me then, remembering when Leia was dressing herself, she decided that she wanted more functional apparel than just a pretty little embroidered dress, so she wore the boots and the gloves that everyone bought her, and she tucked Lola into the holster.
Yeah, I like that it felt pretty, you know, with her Alderaan heritage, but at the same time, yeah, she was ready to fight. Should the need arise, and I thought that was cute. And with the holster, with Lola in the holster, was so cute.
Yeah.
I like the character of Lola. I was a little bit worried after some out of the droids in the sequels. It felt like they're like, okay, we need a cute droid. We need a new sort of it droid for each movie. You know, we had BB-8. BB-9E, Dio, and I was like, oh, they're just kind of keeping it up for merchandise. But I liked the design, I liked the character, I thought it was cute. We'll just quick travel to the last one.
Which one?
Consume the Light.
Have you got? Is that your last heroic?
Yes.
Okay.
The other weekly one says weekly missions, Ossus 2 out of 3.
I haven't got information appropriation finished.
Oh, which one? Which one is that?
That didn't solve it. No, that was through the phase door, I think.
Oh, okay.
That
well, we'll wrap this one up
for
and
you,
then...
but not me.
Okay.
We're encountering a new situation in the game where sometimes things that we used to be able to do simultaneously.
Only complete to the owner of the phase.
Yeah,
so.
and I wasn't paying attention to register that you ran through the door first, and you got all the quests I didn't.
But episodes like this make me very glad that we don't have to get up in the middle of the night to watch Obi-Wan like some countries do.
Oh, yeah,
7 o'clock is a
Yeah.
fantastic time that most people are home
I was just thinking
and
earlier
not
in the day.
sleeping.
was just remembering earlier in the day points in the past where
it's not a midnight release like when the movies,
yeah,
like you had to
wait so long. I was just thinking, we're hours away from live action Star Wars content. That was a feeling, a sensation that was very few and far between in the past.
Yeah. And I like that it's on a Wednesday. I hope they keep that up.
Seems to be where they're going with it.
That it's not a Friday. And not that Friday's the worst, but people go out, go to the movies, see friends.
Well, we're more likely to have a little bit, timing conflicts.
Are you getting dickos? You're getting
Holofires? Yeah. Not those two, but you got those, but I have picked some up along the way.
That's good. I got a bunch off the heroics.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Which way are you facing? So it's just a bit of a shame that it'll emerge. It's still so delayed. I mean, I know we were super lucky to get Obi-Wan and Vader and Reva figures, but yeah, I do want more. Black Series has grown on me pretty rapidly since we started getting into it around the time of Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I just get, I particularly, strangely kind of want both an Obi-Wan and a Leia figure to look interest together, but we haven't seen the Leia figure revealed yet in either scale or Funko for that matter.
Yeah, she's a crucial figure for the story. And of course, as New Zealanders, I want to see Breya Organa merch being played by a New Zealander. That's always exciting to be able to add.
Might be a little less likely to get her in Black Series, but it would be cool.
Oh, Funko! I'm hoping for her in Funko because I definitely like collecting, especially since Funko was doing the Power of the Galaxy collection, which is a range of female Star Wars characters. We have seen Padme and Sabine. I believe it was announced in that line. I would love to see, even if they don't do like a Breya for Obi-Wan, that perhaps they include her in that, because now she's gotten 2 episodes of Obi-Wan, and of course her brief appearance at the end of episode 3. She is an important part of Leia's life. Definitely want to see her.
Yeah, she plays a big role in some of the books. Leia, Princess of Alderaan. They do make use of her character quite a bit in that book. I'm just thinking of action figures though. I mean, if we do get a Leia figure in a few different scales, it still boggles my mind that the versions of Lola that come with 3.75 inch Obi-Wan Kenobi have articulated wings and articulated legs.
It's crazy. They're so tiny. They look like little bugs, but they're articulated. Basic says, "Hey guys, better late than never, eh?"
Hey,
I hope you got to watch the episode. We're still sort of reeling after all of that goodness. The fights, the sort of emotional points, the reunions.
All the Easter eggs that we were hoping for.
Yeah. I love the way how it brought closure. It didn't feel like it was wrapped up too quickly, but it also didn't feel like it was too long. Like, you always see the runtime, you're like, oh no, I wanted it to be longer. I was initially I was like, I want it to be more than an hour. But having watched it, it felt like a good length of time. It didn't feel like, oh, we're going to do lots of fights and now it's done. But then it didn't feel like it just sort of dragged out at the end, guys. Let's just make them all cry.
Yeah.
And saving Qui-Gon just for the end. It was beautiful.
Yeah. Man, I mean, I'd be quite happy with Black Series figures in particular. Most of the things we saw in the spirit of Qui-Gon Black Series figure would be pretty cool. But imagine a battle damage Vader Black Series figure.
Oh, they have to. I mean, Hasbro must have been keeping that under wraps pretty well. there's going to be some pretty cool merch of that. You know, I think back to I loved that old, I don't even remember what era it was, the figure with the Luke in the helmet, and you could pop it off.
Yeah.
And like the old classic, the one where you could sort of see like the skull in it, and it had slightly translucent helmet when he was being sort of electrocuted.
And a forest skull, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like
series.
this will be another one of these. Do we talk? Oh no, he's a bug. Oh no, it was your phase. Okay, I was waiting for it to do something.
And it was pretty clean and tidy. We talked just yesterday, I think, in the podcast about how we were wondering how they would resolve the fact that they still had story arcs for both Leia and Luke to tie up. But
where they couldn't overlap.
It was pretty tidy. That's straightforward. That everyone just went his own way as a diversion and drew Vader away from the escaping.
Yeah, so we don't know exactly, like, that we didn't sort of revisit the members of the Path.
No.
Once Obi-Wan kind of led Vader away.
So that's really open-ended, because it's not only we're not only just talking about that cohort of escapees. We're talking about the system. We're talking about the fact that Logan is still alive and will be still helping others escape, presumably, one way or another. I don't think he'll just give up. And
sorry, I'm running out because it still says 0 out of 3 for me. I should have thought that, yes, it will complete for you because this is your phase.
okay,
Completed for you?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Now at 3 arrives.
Okay. But yeah, that Vader Obi-Wan fight was pretty epic. Like,
well, just the scene of, multiple aspects of it. Like I said before, the way they fought, the way they used force powers, the damage that Vader that experienced, and Obi-Wan the wall rocks.
I thought it was a good way for him to kind of disarm Vader without resorting to chopping off limbs. I was like, that might be a little on the nose to like, okay, I'm just going to take your legs off again so we can just get this fight over and done with and just sort of rehash episode 3.
It made a lot of sense for him to get the upper hand by initially damaging his life support system, basically.
Yeah. But that sort of emotional aspect of seeing the eye, I had hoped they might give us a moment of that after how impactful that was in Rebels. And yeah, not just from a merchandising aspect, because it's just cool. It was done so well. It was eerie. I liked the lighting in that scene. Yeah, I liked the lighting. It kind of flicked between sort of the different lightsabers casting light on Anakin's face and that exposed helmet, and it sort of echoed the way his voice would crack in and out of sort of being Vader, as his breather, as a sort of apparatus was sort of working and glitching out from the damage. The same way that sort of at times there was blue lightsaber light, reminding us of Anakin carried a blue lightsaber, and then of course when it sort of gets really dark and eerie, it's his own red lightsaber casting light on his face, and he looks really menacing and sinister. It looked like they kind of added the prosthetics like around the cheek. I always remember that sort of the cheek area on when Vader's unmasked to Return the Jedi. I felt like they did a really good job of it still being very recognizably Hayden, but having touches of the Anakin that we see in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I thought that was quite well done. It was a good blend, not just completely undoing that performance, because I know certain things you can go in and sort of undo, but there's no point to having Aiden perform the old Anakin. I think that's a good performance, but I like that it matches with it, because Vader is a character performed by so many people, to sort of all bring it together. The voice, the performance, the physical face. It's neat to see the way that they've kept that going. Oh, mine still says 0 out of 3.
Oh, really?
Is this the first one? I'll kill this one then and see where we're at.
0 out of 3. We might have to try a reset. I think we might have encountered that bug before, I don't know.
I'll see if this is the first one. But yeah, if it is, then I'll just leave it for another time. Oh, I can't wait to watch it again though. Like, both just watching that episode again tonight and then watching the whole series. Gotta add up all the minutes. I haven't added up the minutes of the runtime of all of them yet.
Probably averaged about 45 across the board, but if you take out the recap,
yes.
then we're probably only about 40 minutes each, so
yeah, that still just says 0. That's fine.
It's gonna clock out there. Good 4.5 hours. Yeah. Do you want to try resetting it when you go out?
That'll be fine. I'll probably finish it off later.
You sure?
Yeah.
I think we should just give it a crack because they will
What,
trail them
reset
while
it?
they're on. Yeah, just we can run in and get them all if it doesn't work.
Okay.
Then it's a bit more significant bug. It's not just related to what is the class that you need to get.
It says Jedi Masters.
Okay. So August the 31st for Andor, but we're hoping that Bad Batch, even though it was almost quite a bit earlier in the year, we're expecting some Star Wars, we're expecting some premieres on Disney Plus Day. Bad Batch might be amongst them. That would mean we're going to have later in the year overlapping episodes, live action and animated potentially.
Yeah. Which is fun because for the wider Disney Plus audience, they see it as different things. Some people only pay attention to live action shows and not to animated. But for Star Wars fans, you know, it's just all Star Wars. So we're gonna watch it no matter what. If they do overlap, it'll be interesting to see if they put them out same time, same day. Okay, that worked.
There you go. Getting up doing targets things.
I'm sure there's something else in this episode that I've forgotten about just because of just the sort of the main points. I think they have to give us a little Leia Funko because we've got Haja. And I want to see Ned B as well because they've announced Tala.
Ned B in Funko format.
Yeah, or at least like in. I'm hoping we get some announcement of more from the vintage collection in the sort of 4-inch scale.
Yeah, well, and the Ned B in the retro collection has been revealed. And that's actually revealed at EB Games. Not quite yet. Odd that that's his first product.
Like, I appreciate they can't do all the figures all at once just because, you know, factories can only make so much and wallets can only afford so much all at one time.
But I'm surprised. I don't think that Hasbro would do a retro collection character that doesn't show up in the other ones as well.
Yes,
so
yeah, because that one's a little bit more of a niche collection, isn't it?
So it's kind of fun to see a lot of it. I mean, things that we expected along the way, but things that were kind of rumoured. There were rumours floating around about Evan.
I liked that. I really liked that moment.
I think,
especially since it kind of just, it resettles the kind of, you know, like Vader, seeing him straight after, and you know, seeing him back on his throne in the fortress on Mustafar, with his helmet back on, all fixed and everything like that. Sort of, it felt proper and sort of, you know, fitting to see Vader. You know, yeah, he took some hits, but he's back and he's fixed his armor, feeling better, and sort of reaffirming his loyalty to the Emperor. I thought that was a good point to leave his character at that moment.
Yeah, because when it comes down to In New Hope, it's not everyone that is specifically after anymore is the search for Skywalker.
Yeah.
I use Luke. That is the focus. Yeah, it's just
well, the Death Star plans, and then yeah.
What's that? Sorry.
The Death Star plans.
Oh yeah, but building out that some of the expanded universe material.
Oh yes,
was
yes.
quite preoccupied with pursuing Luke.
Yes.
Seeking out Luke, and he's no longer his focus on Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
To the point where he's actually kind of surprised, a little bit intrigued when he does show up in Death Star.
Yeah. And I like that, you know, the way that they were able to work with that line that was just obviously not really written with you know, 45 years worth of bonus content in mind, but, you know, the presence I've not felt since, and he doesn't finish that sentence, you know, since Mustafar, or like any other piece of dialogue would have constrained storytelling to a narrow window. But because it's left open like that, they could really explore the relationship deeper, and I like the way that they handled those two significant characters interacting a couple of times. Obviously, fans know the sort of the complicated part of episode 3, where we find Anakin and Grievous meeting for the first time and sort of remarking on their height and stuff like that, which meant that they couldn't come face to face in the animated series, which meant that storytelling had to sort of dance around that. But with this, I think they did really well with making sure that it still fit with the established movies and their dynamic. You know, when I left you, I was but the learner, you know, because he did get defeated. But the next time, the final time they cross, Vader wins and defeats Obi-Wan. Of course, you know, he's not really defeating Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan kind of, you know, lets him win. Because I guess that's sort of an interesting way to look at it now, knowing that Obi-Wan puts his lightsaber up because he knows that Anakin really wants to win, wants to defeat him, and won't really sort of really sense or care that it's an obvious play, that it's not a trap, but that it's obvious he's not beating him. He's letting him win, but he takes it anyway.
Yeah, that's very much in character based on what they established and reiterated. So I've got to go to information appropriation. That is back. I remember which one is back at. It's in the canyons.
I will go there anyway. I'll go to canyons and see.
I can quick travel there and you'll be able to see me there.
Yep. It's a very exciting time to be a Star Wars fan after an episode of like that. Where'd you go? Up the top. Okay.
Yeah, just it says I have to see if I get something.
Oh, that's a doorway. Oh, that's the Heroic 2+. Oh.
Should feel better now.
Same thing happened to me. It's this last one that whoever went in.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta go all the way around. Okay. How'd you get past? Did you just run?
How did I get to the door? No, I quick travelled.
Oh no, because I don't have the quick travel. I've got to fight my way.
No, I know you don't, but I figured if I got here, you better see me on the map.
Yeah, I know where it is. Just gotta fight my way to you. These mobs hurt a little bit more with just me.
So, yeah, there's some really good storytelling there. I think Andor's got a lot to choose a bit of a hard act to follow in some ways, but I think there's space for it to do quite well as well.
Where are you going? You're going the other way.
I'm getting lost. No, I thought you had to go usual path. There's before we go in, if you want, there is a lockbox just up to the right of the back door.
Okay. Yeah, we grabbed it before and it changes spots.
Yeah.
To the right. Oh, yep.
Take a breath.
Are you coming?
Yeah, just get rid of this one.
Oh, just come close. Drag him my way.
Ah, I know they're turrets. I can't drag them.
Ah, okay.
Yes, I just remember. So all the main points will try to just break through my recollection as well. See if there's anything else we can miss. But
Looting this currency would put me over the cap. I think it's the Ossus bits. Okay, you run in first.
I'll do that.
Did you reset it?
No, I didn't.
Oh, this is this fight. Oh. Well, I'll use it. Because mine didn't do it unless I reset it, so you might need to do the same as well.
Yeah, possibly. I'm not sure what the first markers.
Nah, it's just the droid. You just got to do it, and you don't want to do that fight and find it doesn't count.
Oh, well, it's just an objective for just sort of going through the door. It's just reached a security outpost.
Which it hasn't updated.
No, yeah.
Okay, so yep. Fight this fight, then go outside, reset it, and we'll come back in.
I seem to wait for you, so.
Yep, it did. I can sneaky get this crystal while you do that.
So let's see if I need to approach it to trigger it.
Huh?
Just need to see if I need to approach it from a distance to trigger it. No, it still says
You
reach
reset
security
it?
outpost. Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. Must be further away then.
I'm not sure if. It's not triggering for me. Oh well.
And I suppose the quick travel's still not usable for you?
No.
You use it within an hour.
Yeah. Oh well, maybe we'll leave this here. Not reset. So we might log out at that point anyway when you finish claiming the decorations.
Yes, I've got a lot to go through.
Log out at this point and revisit the episode and podcast next week. The entirety of the stream will be on Twitch, and we will upload on our YouTube channel, of course. So if start. Always enjoy talking about the episodes as well as watching them, of course. We will keep streaming on Twitch over the next little while we wait for the next live action material to crop up. I guess we'll just have to be talking about some other Star Wars stuff along the way.
Yeah.
A little bit of conversation about news that might have cropped up, I think. See how that goes on a weekly basis. So I think there's a good chance we'll be streaming about the same time each week, but probably an additional stream on some other day of the week as well. We'll come to streams in each week and talk about Star Wars live, as well as everyone used to use a podcast where we talk about Star Wars in a recorded fashion. We'll sign out now though, so thanks for those that signed in to watch. Enjoyed the conversation as much as we did. Appreciate putting up with us, ramble a little bit, and get lost in the excitement and emotion of that finale episode. We'll sign out at this point, so may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like, check out our other videos, and subscribe for alerts about new uploads. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.